Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today I'm going to talk about how long do post-menopause symptoms last. If you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of all my new videos. Are you wondering how long symptoms are supposed to go on for post-menopause? Do you find that you thought maybe they would just stop after your period stop and that's it? And this is one of these kind of urban myths. So many people see post-menopause as everything just stopping after periods have stopped. And unfortunately, this is really not the case. So today I'm going to talk about how long symptoms can last, and also why do sometimes symptoms come back years after your periods have stopped. So first of all, we need to consider, what does post-menopause mean? Now, there are so many theories out there. You'll go onto one website and find something, and then somewhere else something completely different. So in our experience, so this is what we have found over the years that we've been doing all these video blogs and information on the menopause. We say 2 years, that's when you are considered post-menopause. The problem for us as well is we've had so many women over the years come to us because their periods have come back, or they've ended up with spotting, or they've had bleeding well after the 1 year mark. Now, post-menopause, it's really more to do with the fact that you can no longer get pregnant. So again, if you just take the 1 year and then you get a period back after a year and a half, it means your hormones are still shifting a little bit. And the last thing we want is for anyone to have an unwanted menopause pregnancy. So for us, we consider post-menopause 2 years after your last period. So how long can symptoms last after periods? So it varies dramatically between everybody. You are having a unique menopause. You will also have a unique post-menopause. So for some people, they find that common symptoms such as hot flushes and sweats and anxiety, that kind of thing, they tend to tail off maybe starting 2 years after periods have stopped. So the average time scale for most symptoms are between 3 and 7 years. Now, don't all sit there gasping, thinking that's going to go on forever. You're all very much individual. So for some of you, you'll hardly get any symptoms at all once periods have stopped. Some may find that they get them for maybe a couple of years and then they disappear. For some women, though, it may go on a lot longer, but often in that situation, there are other things to take into consideration, which I will talk about. So as hormones reach a new normal, so the new normal is a much lower level of hormones. But once it gets there, there's less hormonal fluctuation, there's less dips or spikes. And that's usually when symptoms start to ease off. Your body has learned to adjust to a lower level of hormones. And for a lot of you out there, your body will be able to cope perfectly well at this level. So why do some symptoms last longer than others? There can be lots of reasons. Stress is a huge one. And I know for me, one of the things I've noticed as time goes on, as we get more and more stressed because of what's going on in the world, our daily lives, that stress has a huge impact on perimenopause, menopause, and post-menopause symptoms. It can be poor sleep. Again, if you've got into a poor sleeping routine during the menopause itself, then you're possibly going to still have poor sleep afterwards too. It's not treating symptoms, and it's amazing how many women, they get a menopause symptom and they think, well, it's going to go in a couple of years, so I'll just leave it. I always recommend, if you get any specific symptom, that you start treating it as soon as possible, because some symptoms will degenerate over time. So if you start getting joint pain in the perimenopause, it's important to start treating it and supporting your joints, because if you don't, the joints can start to deteriorate and you could end up with osteoarthritis. So it's always a good idea to look at specific symptoms and support your body in some way at actually dealing with them. It can be poor diet. Nutritional needs go up as we age because our body needs more of everything just to keep us standing upright. So it's really important to have a good varied diet. It can be lifestyle generally. So if you smoke, if you drink an awful lot of alcohol, then these can prolong menopause symptoms as well. So just be aware of that. So what happens if symptoms come back? Supposing you've been through the post-menopause, symptoms have eased off, and then 5 or 7 years down the line, suddenly symptoms start to come back. Tends to be mainly ones that the main common ones that I see certainly tend to be the anxiety, tends to be flushes and night sweats as well. It's unlikely to be hormonal if symptoms appear from nowhere. It's not impossible, because if you have come off HRT at that point, coming off HRT can bring your symptoms back. Falling in love can bring symptoms back. It can whiz up your hormones again. And sometimes if you really improve your lifestyle and diet, your body can have a little whoopee moment and hormones can come back. But in normal circumstances, if your symptoms come back suddenly after 5 years or more without periods, it is likely to be other issues. Now, vitamin D deficiency, B12 deficiency, anemia. So even if you're not having periods, especially if you're vegetarian or vegan, you can develop an anemia post-menopause. It could be thyroid problems, it can be diabetes, and it can be heart disease. All of these will cause symptoms that can be absolutely identical to menopause ones. So in this situation, I always recommend asking your doctor for a general health check. Check these all out just to make sure that it's not any of them. Because again, if any of these start to develop, they need treating specifically and individually, and hormone medication and supplements are unlikely to be helpful in this situation. So it's really important to post-menopause to still look after yourself well. This is, I've discovered over the years that self-care is an ongoing process, and we need to keep looking after ourselves well. We need to keep adjusting for when we start to grow older, because our body needs different things at different times. So again, most important things, water. We need to be hydrated, and especially for things like brain function and joints, post-menopause, really important. Get your diet sorted, make sure you're getting plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables, good quality protein. We need more protein as we get older as well, so that's really important. Whole grains and healthy fats, especially to keep our brain going and our joints going. Sleep well. If you're having poor sleep, really needs to be addressed. Regular exercise, and I'm not talking about going mad here. I've just been reading some really interesting research on exercise as we get older, and they're basically now looking at walking as being the best exercise that you can do. So even 15 minutes a day outside is worth its weight in gold to keep your body that little bit fitter as you go through post-menopause. Also look at relaxation, stress relief, anything like that. Make sure your stress levels are as low as possible. Also, when you get to post-menopause, don't just think, that's it, I can stop everything, don't need to look after myself, that's it, all over and done with. If you've been taking supplements during the perimenopause and menopause, do continue them, because again, your body still needs that extra support as you go through post-menopause life. Just remember though that not all conditions, not all symptoms, as I've mentioned before, are connected to postmenopause. So if anything comes up that you're not sure about, if any symptoms you have suddenly start to get worse instead of easing off, please do double check with your doctor. So I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a question. I mean, the other day I had 4 questions about this just in one day. So it seems to be coming more to the fore. More and more of you are looking at what's going to happen post-menopause. So I hope you found it helpful. As always, please post your stories. How did you help yourself? What have you found useful? Please share your tips, because they're bound to be helpful for someone else as well. Have a lovely week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.